We have with us today Mr. Sunil Sharma, who is MD and CEO of the Indian branch of RGA, one of the top reinsurers in the world and in the country, obviously. And Sunil Sharma is an actuary, appointed actuary by qualification. His experience of the big insurance companies like ICICI Prudential and Kotak Life Insurance. He's also been a chief risk officer, and now he's switched over his role from the insurer to the reinsurer model. And he is a great fan of technology. Okay, and he understands numbers very well. So I thought that we can talk to him and take his views, both, in fact, three-way view. One is as actuary, one as an insurer, and one as a reinsurer. So I welcome Sunil. Sunil, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ganesh.
So, first of all, how is the switch like?
Oh, it's fantastic. Actually, reinsurance is not new to me. So I have actually worked in Swiss Re, close to 7 years before coming to direct insurance company.
Sorry, I missed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked. I was actually for Southeast Asia and Singapore, and then also spent some time in UK in the chief pricing office of Swiss Re Life and Health UK office. So, yeah, it's not new to me, but I'm enjoying it. I think there's plenty of opportunities in India to really help our partners, to provide them support from our balance sheet to grow their business and optimize their use of capital.
Obviously, now digital is a big mantra globally. So, do you think the Indian insurance sector is really digitized, and is it helping you from a business point of view and also from a risk management point of view?
I think the digitization is a journey. If you look at it, I think it varies from company to company. Some companies have been constantly investing in digitization and their infrastructure and IT. There are some of the companies who are too busy in growing their top lines and perhaps cutting corner on the technology. But I think in the last I would say 4 to 5 years, there have been significant spend on the digitization by almost all insurance companies. And the critical piece on digitization started during the pandemic. I think there was a time when everybody realized that they really have to spend a lot of time and money on digitizing the process, a lot of automation.
COVID has been a boon.
So that has really changed the way the insurance business used to be done, the way customer onboarding is happening, and I don't think there will hardly be any insurance companies using the printed form of the proposal form. So I think it's the whole onboarding, I think, more or less is digital. Obviously, it's not automated. There's a difference between what you would call a digitization and the automation. But I think a lot of information now the customers is being captured in a digital form, which could be read by the system. And there are some which is in the form scanned form, for example, policyholders, income information, and all that documentation, etc., are still in the scanned form. But even those can be digitized. As some of the companies are starting, how could they translate that into the readable format and capture that in their system? So I think to that extent, a lot of work has happened.
Would you like to share any of your experience of where you were involved in any specific digitization in your earlier roles, and it changed the outcomes for you in different ways?
I think in my earlier roles in the direct insurance companies, various digital initiatives in the form of how could we really improve the onboarding of the customers. For example, moving away from the manual underwriting to really automated underwriting, so everything is okay. So a lot of rule-based digitization that happened in terms of your proposal form is digital, so all the information that you have is digital. You can also utilize some of the risk management tools, which would really be risk scoring models could be utilized based on AI/ML, which can really read the information from the proposals information, classify those into various risk categories, and helping to use the resources more optimally. The cases which are less risk, perhaps they can be issued straight through, and only cases which perhaps can be classified as high risk are going to the underwriters. So I think there's an optimal usage of the underwriting skills of the people, particularly on the savings business. I think there's a significant straight-through processing that's happening based on the rule-based and a lot of digitization will help insurance companies to really, delight the customers by issuing the contract within 24 hours and a couple of days.
STP ratio has really gone up across, I think, the industry. So, as an industry, do you think that we are looking at digitization for onboarding separately and risk management separately? Any views on this piece?
Yeah, so I think in terms of digitization for onboarding, I think rule-based can really work in the sense that just whatever the information is there in the proposal, if you assume that's correct, then the rule-based could really work, which is, but unfortunately, we are in a market wherein a significant non-disclosure happens on the proposal form. I'm not sure if all the proposal forms are filled by the policyholders themselves. So that's still, I think, that's still debated. So I think this is a good degree of non-disclosures in the proposal form. So I mean, digitization would really mean that read that proposal form, assuming it's correct, and fully disclose and use the rule-based and kind of decide on that. So I think there has been a lot of work which has happened in the industry in terms of risk side digitization. How could you utilize that information on classifying those risks or classifying those people into various risk categories? So I would say.
So do you think that's happening at onboarding stage itself?
Yeah, I think it's happening at the onboarding stage, but in insurance companies, because you may miss. It's end of the day, it's artificial intelligence. It is machine learning tool. It's learned depending upon what amount of data has been used to train the model, and what amount of data has been used to kind of validate the model. But I think the insurance companies have been using, apart from just these machine learning, they're also doing some RCU after that. So say, for example, if there are very, very high risk cases which they need to convert, they may go through the RCU before they issue it. Or they go through some post RCU that the insurance companies do.
I can see the smile on your face when you're talking about risk. So that's a passion area. So as a CRO earlier, can you give any example of any specific digitization which gave you that kick and say, we got something, pakad liya humne, and that could improve the mortality profits or the claims experience, something?
So I think in my earlier role, we actually kind of, so being an actuary, for me, actual or expected plays an important role in terms of comparing, what are the actual number of claims or actual sum assureds which has been paid at that benefits versus what is expected as per the pricing. And they do compare that and saying, well, are you within that range of what you priced? A by lower than 100% would mean that you're okay, and your mortality priced is experiences in line with what you priced. While you could do that at the aggregate level, at the line of business level, we actually digitized it to actually do the automated calculations for each branch.
Okay.
For each, you can actually map the A by E at each agent level, or you could, depending upon the credibility of the information that you have. We actually kind of put it on the India map by postcode, and in the form of green, amber, red, and then in the form of circles. So the radius of the circle would determine the credibility of that information. So I think look at the map, see where the red areas are there, click there and find out which postcode actually has the largest red circles. Get hold of the people and find out what's happening. So I think that was something which I really feel great about. So,
if I were to ask you, forget about whether you had done it, your company had done it, anything which talks about amazing digitization in your mind, any industry, any other company, whatever, which you say, this is great, a great example of digitization where you believe this is very critical and this can change the game, whether it's a banking or an insurance or any other sector, which probably we would like to replicate in our industry, which you're not thinking of.
Yeah, I think I know in the industry some companies have done really, really well on finding out. See, one of the major risks in life insurance companies is the moral hazard risk, which people don't realize. And moral hazard risk is, if you are insuring somebody significant for a sum assured is significantly higher than the human value. If somebody actually saying, let's say the overall the net present value of the income from that person over the next 10-15 years is X, and you give him a cover of 10x or 15x, it's actually reduced the moral hazard risk. The value of the person not being there is much higher than the person being there. So I think, I won't name the company, but I think one or two insurance companies, at least one that I know, has done amazing work in terms of finding out from various sources the income of that person.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge actually is that it's easy to find out the income of the person in when the person is in normal occupation, in the service or in the salaried class, but self-employed, etc. It's hard. It's very, very difficult to find out the person's income, and then therefore how much cover to offer. I think the company has done a fantastic job in terms of using various sources of you go to income tax, you go to bank statement, you go to loans, you go to credit rating, and various whatever the sources or even the social media, and finding out each of those sources and really estimate the income of that proponent to really have an idea about how is the relationship between the income disclosed in the proposal form and the actual income,
and create a financial eligibility,
and really calculate how much sum assured can be given to that person. I think we need some of those innovations across the industry.
As a reinsurer, you will love such companies.
Oh, absolutely. I think we just need to find out how to reduce the moral hazard. And it's also actually risk for the nation. The moral hazard is like somebody committing suicide and all that. I think those risks can be eliminated.
A lot of murders happening for insurance which get ignored actually.
Yeah.
True. In fact, now when we spoke about income, the second aspect of life insurance is the medical records. And you having been on the reinsurance side earlier and even now, and having dealt with other nations, have you? We know that there are health records, centralized health records in other countries, developed nations at least. So, do you think that there is a possibility in our country to see that in the nearby future? Any views on this?
No, I think there's to begin with, I think the low-hanging fruit that I see is IIB. I think we have got IIB, which has got the data from health insurance companies, from general insurance companies, has got the data from life insurance companies. I think that itself actually is a big data in itself to begin with. If we can really use an identifier for the policyholder, combine the data, and then we have the information about the customer. If the person actually has gone through the Mediclaim, etc., then let somebody.
There's a claim part of it, you're saying. But we don't have it. We are not able to merge health and life and general today, motor today, right?
So you could do it.
We can, but
you could do it because there is an identifier. You got PAN card everybody has got. Nowadays, Aadhaar card. You got date of birth. You got I think there are common fields which can be utilized to merge the data and create some sort of profiling for each of the customers.
So, are we as an industry trying to talk to IIB and getting this done? Is it possible? Do you think it's happening in the new, very quick years to come, let's say?
It can happen. I think there was some discussion that I've heard of has happened, but I think it all depends upon the whole ecosystem, how the Life Council, General Insurance Council, and the regulator takes it forward. But I think it's not something which is too difficult to really take it forward. The data is there. I think it's just the proper resourcing and taking this forward. Intention is there. I think there's a clear intention that this is something that will benefit to the policyholders as well. I mean, it's for the benefit of everybody.
I think it's a good one. You said
because
it's a
low-hanging fruit. Some of the genuine customers who are honest, they disclose properly. They also have to go through the whole trouble of proper due diligence. So because there's some people actually who are anti-selecting, there is a difficult process for everybody. Say for example, term business now is everything is medical. Absolutely. And that's because there have been some non-disclosures, significant non-disclosures in the past. So the industry is going through a caution phase.
Absolutely. So the low-hanging fruit, I like that word. I think that's something which we should attack as an industry.
Yeah.
Now, I'm personally interested now that I know you for many years, and you switched over from insurer to insurer, back to reinsurer. So you've seen both sides of the world, and now as an MD and CEO, your liabilities, your responsibilities, and the direction is more focused and more critical, you can say. So I would like to know, what do you look at it like when you talk about digitization from a reinsurer's angle? Okay, need not be India, globally, because India also has to move towards that direction. How does a reinsurer look at digitization? How does an insurer look at digitization? And how does a reinsurer look at insurer for that digitization? Is it different? Is it high on the insurer side, low, or are they indifferent? Or are they not talking to each other? Like, for example, if reinsurer says, okay, for me, first let me look at my digitization separately. And then I also want the insurer. So overall view कैसे देखते हो उसको?
No, so I think so. There is one internal digitization within the company, which actually we try and see how could we smoothen the process, and those are the global initiatives that we take. You know, it's like India is one market, but we have a presence across the world, and therefore there's a lot of digital initiatives which are taken globally, and we being part of that, those are implemented in our markets as well. And then there are some market-specific digitization that we take, which are specific to the market. It may be regulator-driven or market-driven, so those are taken. I think we also take a lot of digital initiatives to help our customers, or our partners, to be precise, in terms of how could we really help them to balance between easy onboarding and the risk management. And we work closely with them in terms of, we got our own tools for the risk management. We provide them to our customers to help them risk manage as well as to do easy onboarding, so that they can deal with the seasonality, because India is popular for seasonality. A lot of businesses are written at the end of the quarter, at the end of financial year.
40%?
Yeah, and at the last, I think March is equivalent to 3 months itself. So. We work with our customers to really provide them the digital solution to deal with.
Can we change the seasonality? It's just out of question. Like, when we're talking about digitization, why should the season still exist? Now the tax benefits are also not there. We like mentality hai though.
Yeah, I think it's all about the targets, how the business planning is done, how you still actually have that. I mean, it's also about how you're rewarding the distributors. Some schemes that you run, maybe rather than running those schemes in the last quarter, you could run in the first quarter. So some of those.
Yes, and the insurance support all this.
I think it's all driven by. I think it's probably some people still actually buy it for taxation, but I think it's all the distributors' behavior.
So, do you think that the insurer's digitization process is in line with the reinsurer's digitization process, or are they working parallelly in tandem? How is it?
No, I think insurance companies have their own priorities. It's just not as driven by the reinsurers, because I think there's a lot of digitization that insurance companies do in terms of providing digital solutions to the customer. How could they really provide good, quick services? How the customer can reach insurance companies for their services? At various touch points. It could be through mobile phone, it could be through app, it could be online, it could be visit to the branch, etc. And making it convenient to the people. We mainly get involved in terms of underwriting, in terms of due diligence, in terms of onboarding the customers, how the risks are being onboarded into the balance sheet of the insurance company, which also indirectly or directly get onto the balance sheet of a reinsurance company. So I think so those are some of the areas where we get involved extensively with reinsurance companies. Also a lot of involvements in terms of new ideation, new products, needs of the customers, and how could we help our partners to really come up with innovative products, new ideations, and how could we support them on transfer of the risks from the insurance company's balance sheet to our more diversified, larger balance sheet of RGA.
So where do you look at reinsurance industry in India in terms of digitization on a weighing scale compared to the other nations? Are we good? Are we bad? Are we picking up?
No, I think we're really good. I think in the last few years, I don't think we any less than actually. I think we've come far ahead in terms of the whole digital journey in the country.
Including the reinsurance industry, not just the insurance industry. I'm talking about reinsurance industry.
So the reinsurers are same globally. If you look at it, reinsurers are not just India specific.
Yeah.
So reinsurers are, anything which is being done by, let's say, RGA US is also being done by RGA India.
Are you able to do it, given the challenges of our country, the size or the economic strata or the documentation process, etc.?
No, so I think to that extent, let's say, for example, you go to UK, you will have the data of the NHS. You may not have the similar data here.
True.
So those constraints would be market specific, and therefore you have to align your business model with the market. But in terms of the digitization, I think more or less same applies across all markets within RGA. So you just have to actually work with the constraints which are there in the market. And we don't have the centralized health information.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Maybe I think the initiative which is there now, NHA is doing a lot of work. A huge amount of health insurance data now is health data is there with NHA. But that actually is below certain level. I think so. Maybe I think NHA could be the future of health data digitization.
True. Generally, I've been talking to the NHA guys on this, and let's hope. Maybe my last question to you is, let's say, aspiration point of view. Where would you want this digitization to go in our country, and where do you feel ये gap को भरना है? It could be an aspiration. It may be possible, may not be possible.
No, I think mainly it would be about one is health, as you said. Can we have health records of the people accessible? Because the challenge in the market is that health data is not available. A large number of medical practitioners are there who really do not keep any records of the customers. What are they treating, what are they recommending? It's just in the form of a small slip, and there is no data available neither with the customer nor with the doctor. So I think that's something which need to be somehow regulated by the medical profession, as to there has to be record somewhere, centralized database, like some form of what you have in other countries like US and UK, which the insurance company can have access to. This will, it's not against the people, it's actually in the interest of the people, because then you would be able to give better premium rates to the genuine customers compared to the people who are substandard. So I think that'll help in terms of better services to the customers and premiums in tandem with the risk that they have. And so I think that's something which perhaps need to be done. And also on the income side, maybe how do we determine the income of the person to find out how much insurance can be given to the person. Yes. These are the two challenges that I see.
Fill the gap of penetration.
To really increase the penetration. Yeah.
Yes, you have always been worried about penetration. You've always been saying about it. And maybe one last question, like as you rightly said, the centralized health records. The medical records that we have at the time of underwriting is hardly 3-4 pages. Whereas in other markets, obviously, the APS itself comes in 200-300 pages. And it's probably a nice to have thing. It's a pre-underwritten thing, actually, you can say. But unfortunately, we don't have it, so we get all those during claim stage. So maybe you're talking about that, saying that it will be good if we get it earlier from pricing point of view.
Yeah, see, I think, to me, I think if you look at it from risk management perspective, some of the smaller non-disclosures do not make much difference. I think it's you really do not want to really, have the people, with suffering from, dreaded diseases, things like somebody critically ill. It actually is against the interest of other customers, all genuine customers, because, higher claims in the portfolio would lead to some people who are genuine or loyal or honest customers. Their premiums will go up, right? So I think it's a huge cross subsidy. People actually who do not disclose, or perhaps the fraudsters who actually take the advantage of this easy onboarding, and it adversely affect the rest of the customers. So in case of with profit business, it'll affect by affecting the bonus will be given to those policyholders. So I think it's important to really differentiate so that the interest of the policyholders can be protected.
You can actually see an actuary speaking. When you're talking about it, you're somewhere coming back to pricing. Your risk is again getting modulated, saying average. This is acceptable. So I think it's a nice way that actually looks at it, the holistic view probably. I think it was nice. Thanks a lot for your views, Sunil. And I'm sure we'll look at it in a much more positive manner. And let's see how we take it up and how the digitization goes in the country.
Sure.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
your time.
Ganesh.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.